Athena, hey guys, this is Sam from World University Information Channel. As usual, I'm moving around the world, and right now US and Canada. And as you know, I was in Montreal. Right now, I'm in Toronto. Found this wonderful student, and I just starting to talk with her. Athena, thank you, Athena, for your time. Really appreciate. And so, without much ado, let's start and talk to her uh, about her experience at the University of Toronto. Of course, we are in Toronto. So, Athena, would you please introduce yourself briefly, what you're doing in University of Toronto, your discipline, whatever you want to tell us?
Well, I'm Athena. I'm a student at the University of Toronto St. George campus. I am in my third year of psychology specialist and visual arts minor.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, great. Muna, so you already mentioned your discipline program of studies. What would you say in general about the standard of education or the quality of education in your, especially psychology department, but in general that would reflect somehow on the University of Toronto? What would you say about that? Maybe 0 being nothing and 10 being fantastic or excellent. What would you think is the quality or standard of education here in the University of Toronto?
I think if you asked me to give you one whole number, I would give you an 8. Although I think perhaps the Likert scale is a bit reductionistic. There are very many very accomplished lecturers here and very much research that you can participate in to further your knowledge. However, with that high standard of information that's being given, even at the very basic first year course, it comes with a very high course load and a lot of expectation as to what you perform in. U of T has a more generous first year acceptance rate than perhaps an IB in these states, but that comes with a lot of people struggling and ultimately choosing not to pursue a degree here.
I see.
It's a good education. But with that it comes a challenge.
Oh, really? Yeah, of course. When you have a great reputation or standards to maintain, yeah, it comes with the cost of working hard and all that. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. And so you would say University of Toronto, if you, whatever you know, is like the best university in Ontario or in Canada or one of the best, or do you know anything? What would you?
University rankings are very popularly looked at, and I think we often rank quite high, both in Ontario, Canada, and the world. There is more to it than that. There always is. I know University of Toronto ranks high because of our grad program, grad students contributing to a lot of very great research, which can often be misleading for first year or for undergrad students looking for somewhere. Yeah, of course, undergrad students are the bottom of the barrel in terms of how university rankings are created. For me, U of T was a popular choice for my family because of the prestige it comes for that ranking. But for me personally, having the opportunity to study everything, U of T has such a great breadth of program offerings.
Wow.
So for me, wanting to study 2 such specific things, psychology and then visual arts, of course, my options were very limited. Another option for me was TMU, but their art program was not exactly what I was looking for. Similarly, your psychology program was not what I was looking for.
I see.
I also considered OCAD, but of course I wanted to do science and art as well. So for someone like me who was not interested in settling in just one thing, even though I was interested in psychology mostly as a field of work, still wanting to do so meant that U of T was by far the most attractive option.
Fantastic, wonderful. Yeah, I kind of know some of the things about University of Toronto. Like they are one of the kind of pioneers in AI, you know.
Yes.
I just trying to recall his name, but anyways.
There
So,
are a lot of pioneers in all sorts of fields,
right.
which again is another reason. Like I mentioned before, there's all sorts of research being done. In my psychology department, there are a lot of very prolific researchers dedicated to the field of memory,
I see.
and so there's a lot of really cutting edge research that you can participate in even as an undergraduate if you put in the time to make connections, apply for things, talk to people, of course.
Sure, sure.
One that you may have heard of is the HIPAA camera, which is an app designed to help people struggling with age-related mental decline remember things by mimicking how the hippocampus processes memories for the day.
Very nice, very nice. So I assume being from psychology department, right? So you kind of know these research going on here, right?
I do.
Fantastic, fantastic, really.
In your first year of psychology, Psych 100, you'll actually get an opportunity to participate in one of those researchers as a member of the pool, which is, I think, one of the most crucial opportunities you get in understanding how psychology research is actually conducted.
Very nice. Yeah. See, that is the big plus point for a great university because you have opportunity to talk to the researchers.
You do,
Yeah.
because the researchers are your professors.
Professor, exactly, exactly. I mean, it's not. I understand. Wonderful, actually. Yeah, that's really great about this university. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't need to know neither you. I mean, I'm just saying that what is the ranking of University of Toronto? We can look up on Google. That's not a problem. But I was just getting what you see, and you very well defined and described what is going on over here. Okay, fantastic. So you mentioned, of course, psychology and maybe some other program. What are the major programs of reputation? Like those which ones are popular in this university? That okay, University of Toronto has excellence in these schools.
That's a great question. As for excellence, I can't speak really outside of my own program. However, I know that the engineering program is particularly popular.
Engineering.
Yes.
Okay.
I had friends who were very interested in doing one who actually made it in with me to do engineering, and she enjoyed it very much. She enjoyed the opportunity she received as well in research in her department as well. Engineering is a 5-year program as well, which is also quite attractive for people.
I see. I see.
In addition, before I studied psychology, I was interested in medicine, so I was in a pre-med major. And many people from there were interested in neuroscience in particular,
I see.
and were very interested in applying for that major once their first year was completed.
Yeah. So engineering and you said what was the other one?
Neuroscience.
Neuroscience, right?
As well, the Rotten School of Commerce is quite popular.
Commerce.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, I get it. So I would say it's very big university as well as very good university. So yeah, and of course I'm sure it has centers of excellence in some of the departments as well, which I don't know, but
There are talented people everywhere.
right?
Yes.
Okay, very nice. So moving on to the next one, and since you are in psychology, would you say that psychology is one of the best here in Canada, Ontario, or what would you say your department?
Could you be more specific?
Yeah, like what do you think your department specifically is top ranked in the Canada in the universities? Or?
I know that our psychology department is one of the best, due largely in part to the researchers that are here. I mentioned our lab's work in memory. That's, I think, one of the greatest defining features of our program is the kind of people that you're available to work with. There's so many different approaches to the discipline of psychology. It's a hub science. It connects to all sorts of different things.
Right.
For me in particular, I'm interested more so in the cognition and neuroscience aspects
really?
as opposed to like the social and personality psych. As much as I enjoy them.
Wow. Very nice.
And so there are researchers in all of those things.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so moving on to the next one. So yeah, this is, I'm trying to gather general or generic information, and thank you again. And if you know, of course, what do you think? There are a lot of scholarships available, very few in general for the students, financial aid in particular, or internships,
Okay.
side jobs, part-time jobs, or not. What would you say? Like, what do you
Good
think?
question. Um, scholarships can be more challenging to get at U of T as opposed to other universities because of the college system.
I see.
If you're not aware, if once you apply to U of T, for most programs, I think except for the exception of engineering, you must affiliate with a college.
see.
Oftentimes, scholarships are offered by alumni. The alumni offer those scholarships, generally speaking, to a college as opposed to the whole broad university.
Right.
I belong to a newer college, and so my options were less available into those who are part of a larger,
Oh,
older,
I see.
more institutional college.
I
So
see.
that can definitely be a challenge. As
Interesting.
for financial aid, I'm not able to apply, but I know that OSAP is also available.
I see.
As for work, depending on what campus you're in, I'm downtown, there are all sorts of things that are happening around you. There are work study positions, which are quite popular, especially if you're looking for paid exposure to your field of choice. As well as, of course, jobs on campus. It's a big campus. You need people to keep it running, as well as in the city. Obviously speaking, the job market is not amazing right now.
Yeah.
In Toronto and major cities as well as outside of them. Many people are feeling that everyone is asking for people, but no one is getting hired. So it can be a challenging. U of T is expensive, and
Oh, I see.
of course, for me, when I applied in my 12th year of school, I received merit scholarships almost everywhere except for U of T.
Oh, really?
So it can definitely be a challenge,
Can we-
financing.
Okay. And as you just mentioned, so this is very expensive, school. So what would you say for yourself or in general is yearly, tuition fees and cost of living?
That's a good question. I live
Average.
okay. I live off campus and I'm a domestic student.
Okay.
So my family pays the university about $8,000 a year.
A year. Okay.
On top of that, since I live off campus but downtown, rent is exorbitant. An average rent in Toronto is $2,500 a
Oh,
month.
really? Wow.
On top of that, grocery prices are rising.
Oh, my God.
It is a lot. We have a decent suburban transit system, the GO train system.
Right.
So living outside of campus on the GO train lines is definitely an option.
Oh, right.
Although cost of living is rising throughout the entire GTA.
I
so
see.
it is definitely a challenge financially, like I mentioned,
I
to
see.
live and study and work here.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to say that it's easy, but I've been talking to students in Washington, and this is like 100,000 tuition for a year.
Exactly. Exactly. If you're, it's definitely in the States, it's something else. For Canada, though,
Right.
Toronto is one of the most expensive places you
Expensive,
can
right,
live. U of T is one of the most expensive schools you can
True,
go to,
true.
even as a domestic student.
Right. Yeah, like in Montreal, they were saying around 2,000, I think, per year or per semester. So that's good, of course, but this is a little expensive than that.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. But yeah, cost of living is another thing. And you couldn't qualify for financial help because of income.
Yes.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, that's a pain for some people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, cost of living here is prohibitive to most people. As I'm sure cost of studying in, like you said, Washington D.C., $100,000 is vastly out of the budget of the majority of families, which I think is such a shame.
Yeah, they get some financial help. I guess for undergrads, many do. But still, if you not, then you're done.
Exactly.
Yeah, under the debt. So, yeah. Anyways, okay, good to know that. Thank you. What are the requirements for admissions in general or in your program? You have to do TOEFL, GRE, SAT, any other tests?
Good question. We're in Canada, so we don't have an SAT, and I applied as a domestic student, so I never took it. So for us, because our college application or university application system works, it's you're selected almost entirely on the grades you receive as well as the courses you took. For U of T, it's known to be quite high. For me, I was accepted on the year average of a 98%,
Oh, wow.
which was challenging to get. It was COVID, so working from home was actually, for a time, quite conducive to me, which allowed me to reach that. Although I know in previous years, some friends of mine received a similar average but were not admitted.
I see.
It can be very challenging to get in, even though U of T is, like I said, more forgiving in their acceptance than, say, the Ivies like Harvard.
Oh, is it? Okay, I see. So acceptance level is not too high.
It's not too high, definitely. They're quite competitive, but it is not as exclusive as other schools.
So, like you would say, in between the Ivy schools and the average schools. Okay.
Yes.
A little higher end of the average schools, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got in everywhere.
Okay.
But I was most surprised to get into UC.
So you're very genius, isn't it?
I wouldn't say that's true. There are talented people everywhere in the school. It also very much depends on where you're applying to.
Right.
I'm not sure if on your channel before you've mentioned the program acceptance system. When you apply to a general field of study,
Okay.
which you may or may not be accepted to.
Okay.
For example, I was interested in medicine, so I applied to the life sciences program. From there, upon completion of your first or your second year, you apply to a specific program of study.
Oh.
Some are open enrollment, so
Okay.
you simply select it and you're in.
Okay.
Some are limited enrollment, so you must apply and then on further that provide the necessary grade average,
Okay.
as well as for some programs, I believe, interviews, portfolios, things like that, which can definitely be a deterrent, especially if, of course, if you don't get accepted to what you wanted to study, you're a little bit stuck.
I see.
Yes, for me, when the first time I applied for programs, I applied for 2 open enrollment majors.
Okay.
Mostly because at that point in my life, I wasn't
Sure.
expecting to have the grade average to apply for a limited program. From there, I reapplied for psychology and visual art.
I see. So like first 2 years, or you have to be.
It
like,
depends on the program. Some are even the 3rd year. So for me, after I completed the necessary credits, I applied for visual art and I applied for a psychology science specialist.
Okay.
At some point during the next year, so before April, I will be applying for a research specialist.
I see.
So it's often ongoing depending on what you want to
I
study.
see. Right, I got you. So for yourself, you will be 3rd year student, you said, right? You're gonna be starting this September, I guess. This fall.
Yeah, starting this September.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, starting now because I'm taking a summer class.
Oh, I see. Fantastic. And then you have to go. You are undergrad program, right?
Yeah.
So 2 more years, like
Yes.
third, fourth, right? Okay, got you. Okay. You don't want to do any PhD or anything. I'm just kidding.
I know I do intend to do grad school.
You do?
Yes, like
Oh,
I
wow.
said, I'm interested in research. I've definitely considered clinical psychology. I actually selected my courses based on the interest of going into art therapy,
Okay.
which I may still do and work in possibly between degrees, between graduate degrees.
Right.
Although I do intend to do a master's and also possibly a PhD because I think I'm particularly interested in working in research.
Very nice. Fantastic. I wish you good luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure. Definitely. I don't know, but my perception of yourself, to be honest, is quite high.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
For sure, you're welcome. Anyways, because we just met, I don't know, but that's my perception. Moving on to the next one, how is the social life and attraction in the area?
That's a good question. Like I said, the programs are competitive. It depends on your capacity for that kind of thing. You are in downtown. There is everything. My partner lives out of downtown. He's not a huge fan of it, so he always says, Toronto people think it's the center of the world. But for U of T, there is, obviously we're sitting in a cafe on campus. There are all sorts of things to do. For me, I particularly enjoyed coming out of COVID and into a year of study was how many different clubs there were. Like how many different like social clubs and opportunities there were. There is really something for everything.
Okay.
For me, coming out of COVID, I was really interested in joining another martial arts club. I've done a couple, so there was like something for everything. I got to join one that like I'd never heard of before. It was a really great experience. It opened me up to like so many different things I could do outside of the city as well. And actually, that experience and participating in that colored a lot of my perception and ideas about what kind of things I want to research. For me, a special interest is the neural and cognitive changes associated with combat experience. I've met a lot of retired soldiers doing different martial arts, but that started because of joining that one specific club.
Wow, very nice, very nice. Very good. So in other words, you're saying it's not difficult, you don't feel...
It's not difficult to find
Okay.
people. Perhaps in your lectures, depending on your program, you may study.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's a kind of stereotype on campus of pre-med students being insufferable,
Oh, really?
which is quite unfortunate.
Oh, okay.
It can be challenging, and you may struggle to meet people in your lectures, but there are so many nice people outside of them.
So you said pre-med students are, you said inseparable?
There is a stereotype of pre-med students being insufferable.
Oh, okay.
It's understandable why medical school spots are so limited. You feel like you're sitting in class with your competition, which is to a degree true.
Nice, yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a hard degree. Everybody's miserable. Everybody cries at some point. It'd be nice if we worked together. We don't. It's sad, but it's what it is.
So you're not planning to go medical?
I'm not planning to anymore.
I see.
Part of it was definitely that culture perpetuating itself into medical school and then into the professional space. Doctors are very bad at taking care of themselves. For me, I actually started, part of the reason I decided not to go into medicine was because I actually struggled with health issues that prevented me from not necessarily understanding the material, but simply participating in the lifestyle necessary, the long hours, the hard work to do so. For me, I knew I had to join a professional culture that fostered the health of the people who worked in it, including allowing them to take breaks and take care of themselves. Generally speaking, I found that psychologists, clinical psychologists, mental health professionals practice what they preach a lot more than doctors do.
You said they preach?
They practice what they preach more, as in medical health professionals take care of themselves, take time, take breaks, work reasonable hours, a lot more than I noticed that doctors do.
Okay, I see. Okay, perfect. You kind of hinted out at the jobs, but at that point I was talking about the part-time jobs, but what do you think after you are graduate and you are done with the university and the program, you got your degree and graduation. After the graduation, you think you will have a lot of jobs available? I know market right now is down, but what do you think in general, you and the University of Toronto graduates in general, they find jobs easily or stuff?
That is a good question, and I think very much depends on the program. For me, in psychology, to do almost anything would require further qualification, whether that's becoming registered as a clinical psychologist, which requires additional studies as well as job experience. Like I said, I plan to do grad school because becoming a full-time researcher would require that. I would say something that does hire upon completion of a bachelor's degree would be engineering. There are some things available in psychology that I think about, like support for people with mental health issues. There are people often recruiting on campus who work for companies that help mentally challenged individuals learn basic life skills, which are, I think, quite popular and quite good initiatives, although many are don't pay well or are volunteer initiatives. So like I said, it very much depends on the program.
It definitely does. But like, I was just trying to get an idea, like in general you would say University of Toronto graduate gets job relatively easily or not really, or
Are you asking about the competitiveness of a U of T degree as opposed to one from another school?
in a way,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, because of U of T's reputation, it is generally believed that a U of T degree will have a good bearing, a good weight, which is part of the reason why my family recommended I should select U of T.
I see.
But it's still a bachelor's degree. It's the same bachelor's degree that everybody else has, and oftentimes your job opportunities is also determined by what kind of research or what kind of opportunity you collected during your studies.
Right, yeah, I got you. Of course, it depends on the subject, your discipline, and
Of course,
the
that's
field.
consistent with any university.
Cool. You can keep drinking, I'm holding you up. Sure. Alrighty, and so, moving on, thank you all this information. Yeah, pretty much coming close. Any do's, any don'ts, pros and cons for the future students, what would you say, anything? That okay, maybe do this before you come in to this university, or don't do this, or after you come here, be careful of these pros and cons. Anything comes to your mind?
Good question. I think the advice that I would give would be applicable to any university, not specifically U of T, although I think possibly particularly useful for U of T. I mentioned that I was struggling with my health leaving university and leaving high school and going into university. That seriously impacted my grades. My health continued to decline because I was unable to take care of it, working on what I had, working on what I was studying. For me, it was COVID and home life happenings happened to prevent it, but taking a year off to take care of myself, to get my health in order, would have saved me a lot of money. It also would have possibly helped me select what I was planning, what I wanted to do anyways. I think perhaps I wouldn't have had to change my degree if I had spent that time on myself to begin with.
So you're saying you didn't take off time to take care of yourself?
No, I needed to. I didn't.
You didn't,
and
right.
I ended up having to take that year 2 years in anyways, or 2 years in anyways. So I've actually completed 3 full years with 2 years of degree requirements. And then it's been 4 years since I've graduated high school. So
Oh wow.
I'm the third year who's been around for
I see,
longer
I see.
than that. It's
Yeah.
very silly. It costs money. I was living downtown at the time, so
Mhm.
it was expensive to live here as well. That year, I'm glad I did take it. I spent most of it asleep or at doctor's appointments. Good grief.
Was it because of the COVID or something else? I don't want to wait into that. Just
It was. It began as a child, and it developed. It became worse and worse
I see.
due to just continuing not to take care of it, being unable to take care of it, due to home life and cultural pressures and
Yeah.
things like that. It got worse and worse to the point that I was unable to stay awake. I had severe brain fog, which for those interested in any sort of like pre-med program, you're required to take 2 calculus courses in university.
I see.
I was unable to keep anything in my head.
I see. It's okay.
I did horrible in them. It was,
I see.
I think one of the most important things I could have done was actually to show up. Like,
Yeah.
capable,
Right.
ready.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you are overcoming that and continuing your program. Yeah, everybody suffers from something in life.
Nowadays, yes. Seems like everything is out to poison you. That's very
Yeah.
fair.
Life is not, as you have most heard, that it's not bed of roses, kind of everybody says that.
Of course, you will struggle at different points in your life.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It just depends. Some people are lucky in one
Some
way.
people have good health, other people don't. It's,
Yeah.
it's definitely unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just life. We should look. And, well, yeah, it's life. Okay, moving on to the next one and the final one, kind of. What would be your message if we forgot about anything or if we missed anything? What would be your message to the future students that, okay, this is what I want to say to you, specifically about University of Toronto, if somebody is trying to join, or whatever you think of for this one, what would you say your message?
Is this specific to being accepted to U of T and then doing well at the school?
Yeah, like
Okay.
anybody who wants to join university,
Okay.
what would you tell them?
I think this is,
Anything.
again, applicable to all the universities, but maybe it's particularly helpful for U of T. Work hard in high school.
Right.
Your grades are important, but more so is definitely what you've achieved outside of it. Whether that is volunteering, participating in something, showing that you have an interest in whatever you want to study beyond just your grades. A lot of people will apply with good grades, perhaps better grades. You will be a number unless you identify yourself as an individual through your actions.
As yeah, definitely.
I think the second thing is through that, learning how you need to live your life and what you need to manage and to succeed. For me, I was on survival mode for so much of high school that even though, because I was capable, I managed to get through, but I didn't really have an understanding of how I needed to structure my life in order to study, in order to take care of myself, in order to succeed. It's something that I had to learn, again, mostly through that year away. And because of that, I was totally adrift because I didn't have those basic skills and a regard for myself and a knowledge of myself in terms of what I need out of my life to succeed.
Right.
I was totally lost.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate
Of course.
your time and your information, which you provided for everybody to help them decide about any university they want to go. Athena, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.